It's hot out here. But listen, y'all, when you've been through a lot, your circle gets small, okay? Your circle gets smaller, but you get wiser. In this episode, we talk boundaries, discernment, and why solitude is sacred. Check this out.
Pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful. Living life intentional, just in case you didn't know. Pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful. Tired of wasting all my life, think it's time I get it right. Wasting all my life, think it's time I get it right. Tired of wasting all my life, think it's time I get it right.
Welcome back to the Pretty Purposeful Podcast. I'm your host, Angee Melange.
And I'm Candace.
This week, we're going to dive into a topic that many people can relate to, the topic of friendships. And we're specifically going to be talking about acquiring new friends, or not acquiring new friends. You guys may remember back in 2013, DJ Khaled, Lil Wayne, and Drake released a song called No New Friends.
No new friends, no new friends, no new friends, no new.
When that song came out, oh my gosh, like you would hear more often people speaking about no new friends. I feel like a lot of people may have felt that way, but once that song came out, like you just heard more often a lot of people declaring that they were not into adding more people to their group.
Right.
And I could relate and I respected that. So here we are, Miss Candace and I, we are new friends. So apparently people are still adding new friends to their circle. And so today we're going to dive into to figure out, how do you determine when someone is worthy of being a part of your circle? And when you determine if someone is not, what is the criteria? But before we get into today's topic, as always, I got to check in with my purpose partner, my sister, Miss Candace. What you been up to, girl?
I have been relaxing. So, I told you about my financial goals that I'm trying to get rid of my student loan debt before I turn 32. Okay. I'll be turning 32 next year in February. So I have a couple of more months under my belt. I need to be student loan debt free before 32 to accomplish some other financial goals for myself. So I have been chilling at home, sitting like a villain. I'm not a villain though. I'm not a villain. But I've just been chilling at home, declining requests to go anywhere. The sacrifices, girl.
Yes.
The sacrifices you got to make when you put goals in place. So I've been, really just into myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. That's exciting, though. I mean, sometimes you do have to take a step back, and I totally respect that.
Yeah, but how have you been? What you been up to?
Whew, girl. So, my whole focus, has been on, getting Miss Michaela off to college. And so last weekend we celebrated, she graduated. So we did her little celebration. So now for me, I get a chance to just breathe a little bit, and just take a little pause. I'm still in the process. She's not officially off, to college just yet, but, there's still a few more steps involved. But for the most part, I'm looking forward to, having a little vacation here soon myself, so that we can, just enjoy one another's company before she goes off. And then, my focus is going to be continuing to grow the brand of Pretty Purposeful Podcast, Pretty Purposeful events. I actually will be doing some more singing and, just really looking forward to delving more into my creative arts and getting back in front of the camera as far as, movies, different projects. So
Hey,
Really
man.
excited.
You go, girl. I love it.
Yes, yes, yes. And of course, partnering with you, doing some
Yes,
continued partnerships. And
yes.
yes, you guys, so stay tuned because Candace and I, we have a lot in store. We really are looking forward to continuing to collaborate and bringing our talents together to be able to do more purposeful things in the world together. So stay tuned. You guys, with the rise of social media and digital communication, the way that we communicate and the way that we develop friendships have changed over the course of the years. According to the University of Kansas, they found that it takes more than 200 hours of interaction to move from acquaintance to close friend. Can you believe that?
200 hours?
200 hours. So if you just meet someone on social media and you just start interacting with them for 200 hours, you could move from just being strangers and acquaintances to becoming close friends. Yes.
Wow.
Yeah. I was just like, oh my goodness. I mean, we spend a lot of time online, right? And it's just so interesting because the term friend is used really loosely online. Yeah. Isn't that, it's just interesting how you spend so much time online that some people, really do consider the people that they interact with on a daily basis as their friends. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the point where, there's like these different meetups and things that people will actually meet up with like complete strangers,
Right.
but they've been interacting with them for so long that you can't tell them that that's not their bestie. This person online has been supporting them sometimes more than their own like family.
Yeah.
So, and hey, some of those friendships are genuine.
I can see that.
Yeah,
I can see that.
interesting.
And I think it's interesting that Facebook chooses to use the word friend. Like, if the owner of Facebook, like, if you ask them, do you consider all these Facebook friends your actual friends? I highly doubt that they would say yes.
Right.
Like, why couldn't they use the language acquaintance or neighbor?
Right. Something.
But yeah, there's something to it with them even using the language friend, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Something a little deeper there.
Right, right. So with that being said, it's a vast difference between the way that we develop friendships when we were little kids to the way that we develop friendships now. So I kind of want to take a little trip down memory lane to just kind of see how the way that we develop friendships, how it has evolved over the course of our lifetime. So let's go back to when we were little kids. You recall your very first friendship, and what did those early interactions teach you about friendship?
The first friendship that I had was probably in kindergarten, from the best of my memory, y'all. And when I say we were in the same neighborhood, so we we connected at the bus stop. And then from there, we were in the same class, rode the bus to school, from school. So she is really the earliest memory of a friend to me. I remember being in the third and fourth grade, developing cliques with some of my elementary school friends, right? And I'll be honest, those interactions introduced me to backstabbing. Those interactions introduced me to feeling left out. Those interactions introduced me to jealousy feelings and not feeling like I was enough, or feeling like I needed to be validated by a certain girl in the clique in order to feel like I was enough. So definitely those feelings were introduced to me through those baby friendships. I consider elementary school baby friendships, but it's so interesting because during those early friendships, that's when you were really introduced to the most heaviest of heaviest emotions, right? Yeah, but we had some good times too, though, Angee. Like when it comes to being seen, like, oh, you like Destiny's Child? I love Destiny's Child too. Forming the groups, like, okay, you're Beyonce and I'm Kelly, like that sort of. Always doing that.
No, it was salt and pepper for me. I was salt,
creating these bonds and creating dances. Like, there are definitely some good memories, but there were also some memories of experiencing those heavy emotions. Angee, reflecting on a pivotal friendship from your school days, how did it influence your understanding of loyalty and trust? Or if you want to kind of tell me about your early childhood friendship experiences? I'm definitely curious to know about that.
And like starting from like kindergarten just through elementary school, a lot of them were it really taught me that like friendships, there was a lot like about consistency. Like I felt like the person that consistently showed up for me, that they liked me. It was like these people saw me. The people that were consistent in showing up for me, whether it be the person who at the bus stop always wanted to talk to me, whether it was at recess, the person that wanted to play with me. Like you said, third and fourth grade, third through fifth grade, that I feel like those were the years where you really were starting to, you know, that's where you kind of develop your self-esteem. You start paying attention to the clothes, the shoes, the hairstyles that other girls wore. And so, yeah, and moving into like middle school, people having your back, like, yeah, standing up for you. Just, I feel like those relationships were pivotal because it really gave you a sense of belonging.
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes, period.
Yeah, those particular friendships were the ones that helped me, were some of the first relationships that demonstrated what trust and loyalty looked like at that very young age. You know, because outside of that, you have your family, right? But those are the very first close personal relationships where you have that, where you need to have that loyalty and that trust. Like if you tell someone a secret and you ask them, don't tell anybody, you know, or you need to depend on somebody to do something for you, and they follow through.
Right.
That's that trust where you develop that. So yeah, those relationships were definitely very pivotal.
At Pretty Purposeful Events, event planning meets social impact. We plan, we host, we build community. Grounded in service, guided by values. From youth empowerment events to community outreach, we create spaces that bring people together with purpose. Let's create something purposeful together. Pretty Purposeful Events is based in Atlanta, Georgia, proudly serving nonprofit and community-based organizations nationwide. Virtual services available. For more information, visit us online at prettypurposefulevents.com.
You know, moving into like middle school, again, a very pivotal time in our lives when it comes to developing identity and self-esteem. So as we moved into our adolescence and our young adulthood, how did your friendships evolve?
Friendships changed. When I think about moving or transitioning into the young adulthood, I'm thinking transitioning into my college days, right?
Mhm.
So I only really kept in touch with one friend from high school. And throughout my high school days, I might have had two or three close girls that I was with or in my circle. But then, as you know, time went on, went into college. I only really kept up with one girlfriend of mine, and to this day, like I just sent her a happy birthday message. I was late, but forgive me. But yeah, I still reached out to her. But yeah, it definitely changed. And I think I mentioned this in previous episodes too. Trying to find my circle in my college years was very difficult. Let me tell you.
Mhm.
So my high school days, I was surrounded by a lot. It wasn't, I'll say this, it wasn't very diverse. My high school was filled with African American folk. Okay.
Yes.
Not very diverse.
Yes.
And I wanted to go to college and experience diversity. So I did not go to a HBCU during my college years purposefully because I wanted diversity. I love my people, but I wanted some diversity. So in college, you know, I just wanted to experience a different realm. And it took me a minute to find my group of people that I feel like I could trust, or at least were similar enough to me to where we actually could vibe. And I didn't really find my group of people until probably my junior or senior year in college.
Really?
Yeah, we're going to talk about convenience friends. I've had convenience friends my freshman, sophomore year in college, but going into my junior, senior year, that's when I could really say like, oh yeah, These some good people here.
Well, first of all, I commend you for wanting to go to a school that was diverse. That's major. But I find it so hard to believe that you had a hard time finding friends because the way that we clicked, like it just like what kind of people were they? What kind of people were you? What the? What kind of people were they, Candace?
They weren't bad people, but I'm picky.
Okay, well, as you should be. As you should be.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm very picky with who I want to say, who I really want to spend time with. You know what I'm saying? Like we were talking about it before, literally 30 minutes before this episode dropped, or before we hit the record button. We were talking about how I just don't want to be around you if I feel like we not really vibing. Like, why do I feel like I have to be in your presence and we don't got nothing in common?
Right.
Time is very valuable.
Yes.
So I'm not just out here just trying to be in your presence just to say,
just to be lollygagging.
Just to be lollygagging.
Yeah.
Like, what we doing here?
Right.
That's what we were talking about before we hit record.
That's
is
right.
I told Angee a couple of weeks ago, after meeting you, I literally have found myself thinking, when it comes to future friends, like if it doesn't feel like Christmas, I don't want it.
Yes.
And yeah, you have set the bar high because this is what I want. I want us to produce fruit.
It's like holistic. It's about growth. It's about healing. It's about contributing. It's about development. It's about Christmas. Giving. It's So when you say that it took you that long, I understand now from that perspective. I just didn't know, like, but again, that's why I was saying, what kind of people were they? But clearly, you were using your discernment. Again, I commend you for that. Because being that young, a lot of young people don't have that discernment, and they will just go along to get along.
Right.
And so, yes, good for you. I'm proud of you.
Really? That's how it pretty much evolved. My high school friendships dwindled down to one. And then college, later on during my college years is where I found pretty much genuine people. I don't really keep up with a lot of them today, which I will take the blame for that. I have to do a better job with keeping up with old childhood friends. But yeah. Mm-hmm. Can you share a moment when you realized a friendship was holding you back?
I was really close to someone, and I think this is one of the first friendships that I had in my early 20s that I made a bold decision to cut this person off. And, it was painful to do because she was like family, but, after that friendship ended a few years later, she was incarcerated for committing a robbery. And I just always thought, like, wow, if we were still close, I could have been involved in that, and so, no judgment, everybody has their journey, but I just, always just thought, like, wow, that just showed me that my decisions my life decisions were definitely taking me in a different direction, the direction that she wanted to go in life. So no regrets about that. So does that answer the question?
It definitely answers the question because you took the initiative to pretty much see beyond your now, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Angee.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because many people like their now.
Yeah.
There's many times where I liked the now.
Yes. Even after I had my daughter, again, especially living in my hometown, I would continue to run into people that I grew up with or that I went to school with. And, especially people who those relationships that may have abruptly ended that I didn't have any control over when I was younger. If I run into those people later in life, sometimes I would reconnect with them thinking, oh, we're back in touch.
Right.
But it's like, oh no, I'm going this way in life and they're still on that same path. So again, having to choose, like, just because we have that history and just because we at one point in time had some things in common, we no longer have those things in common now, and I um choose to not continue staying in touch with them.
But isn't that something to where, and I know you're not, I know you've probably dealt with this, many people have, where you will get a negative connotation, or you will get viewed at negatively because, oh, people will think that you switching up on them. Oh, you acting different. Oh, you acting funny. Oh, you don't do this no more. Oh, she acting different. Now you're considered fake because you want to improve your life. And it's like, no, we cannot be bringing our brothers and sisters down because they're choosing to go a different path. And if that different path means to work a certain job or to behave a certain way, we have to be careful with bringing our brothers and sisters down, because that's not what it's about. If they're choosing not to no longer smoke cigarettes, that doesn't mean that they're no longer cool.
Right.
It just means that they care about their health.
That's right.
Period. If they're choosing to no longer go to strip clubs, I'm just throwing stuff out. If they're choosing to no longer go to strip clubs, that's just something that they're finding it within themselves that they no longer want to entertain. And they want to go play golf instead of go to the strip clubs. Then you just got to respect that. If you're a real friend, you will accept the change that your friend has going on, especially if it's for the better.
That's right. That's it. That will definitely let you know who your real friends are, because real friends definitely want to see you improve. They're going to support you through that. And that's how you know. And also, that's for me, I noticed when I started making changes, to improve my life, it was like people would call me goody two shoes. I've gotten called lame. I've gotten called because, I literally went from hanging in the bars, bartending, hanging around people that just didn't have anything going on. Literally day in, day out, all they did was hang in at bars, club, the nightlife.
Yeah.
That was it. And I went from that to becoming a adult learner, literally a nerd. And I was a proud nerd, and I love, and that always was who I was, but I just didn't have I didn't have the foundation to do that in a way that was sustainable and consistent. But once I got that foundation, it was on, and it's been on ever since. I went all the way to get my master's degree.
I gotta read this. Y'all, we have these beautiful bells that Angee made, and look, I don't know if y'all see it. Look. But I had
to stop it. What's that, girl?
I had to ring the bell on that.
So, what about you, Candace? Can you share a time when you realized that a long-term friendship was no longer serving you? How did you handle the transition?
I was pretty much like a financial sponsor to her, and it wasn't like she would ask me for money all the time. It wasn't like that at all. But because of her season, because of the situations she was in, I almost, knowing the type of person that I am, I feel like I am an empath, where I will empathize to a fault.
That's me.
I cannot have you in my circle and you're struggling and I not do one thing to help. I just can't. I'm not that type of friend. So, there are many times where she was faced with struggles, and it's like, oh, this is what I can do. This is what I can do. This is what I'm going to do for you. And then I felt like I was becoming more of a crutch.
That's tough. That is tough, because if you have it, you do want to help. If Absolutely. You have it, right? I get it. I'm the same way. I totally get it, especially if that's your friend. It's one thing if it's just somebody that even if it's just somebody and they're struggling, right? But like when it's a recurring thing, that's different.
And can I tell you something else? I've had a friend tell me, Candace, the reason why you feel so comfortable giving to me as much as you do is because I would do that for you. I will have your back.
Right.
So that's why you feel comfortable giving to me like you do, right? Like, and I'm like, I had to think about that. I'm like, yeah, you're right. I know you will have my back.
Right.
But at the same time, I know the type of person that I am too. I'm not going to use you as the first resource that I come to help me. I know that I will do Uber, Lyft, work
That's how
in
I
a
am.
warehouse.
I'm the same way. I don't ask nobody for nothing.
And I guess it could be an ego or a pride thing, but there's a thin line between really just wanting to take care of your business and then just being too prideful to ask for help. I think there's a real thin line. But to that friend of mine that told me that, I'm just like, yeah, but we're a little different because I can't just ask you if I'm in need, hey, can you spare me this? Can you spare me this? That's not who I am.
Yeah, I'm not like that either. I can't tell you when's the last time I've asked somebody for anything. I couldn't tell you. I've had people offer. Right. I've had people send. But I don't ask now. But I understand now. That definitely a boundary that you have to set for yourself. That is it's a learning lesson. It's something that you just have to establish for yourself.
Right.
For yourself. So that you don't resent it.
Yes. And I've literally found myself saying, Candace, you've already given this person this much. You're not going to give no more. And it hurts. Like if they were to come to me and be like, Candace, I'm in this situation,
Because you don't have to do that. Like friendships don't require like for me, Candace, one thing about me, I can honestly say none of my friendships have ever required money or doing anything for me materially. None of them. None of them.
So let me tell you why I'm laughing. We came into this idea where I think you were the one that was like, oh, we should do an episode about no new friends because we were talking about this and I told you about this situation. And I was like, that led me to not wanting no new friends. I told myself, I don't want any new friends that don't got money. Like literally.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's the thing though, Candace, when you met me, I was going through a financial crisis.
That's crazy.
But it doesn't come into play in any, it doesn't, that's the difference. But that's the thing. Like, I think some people come into friendships for the wrong reasons or with the different expectations. I think, and I've been transparent with you from the very beginning. I mean, heck, you met me grinding. But when you say no poor, it's like,
I feel ashamed for saying that.
Are these people who are, no, here's my thing, and that's your own individual criteria. You have the right to create that criteria for friends. You do. We each have our own ability to create what that criteria looks like. But when you base it on something like finances, you have to keep in mind, I don't want to bring it up, but listen, on the outside looking in, keep that money. That's what I was saying, like with us, it's holistic. So it's not just like one side, like, okay, we're just friends to do like travel. So you got to have money to do that. Or we just friends to just go eat and do brunch. So you got to have money to do that. So it's holistic. So it's like, okay, we can, hey, if we don't got money, hey, if you want to just come over and do brunch, we can eat brunch here. Look. Or you want to go to church, or, we can go to church. Or we want to go walking, we can go to the park. It doesn't, so, and you're able to do that without thinking you got to come out of your pocket. It doesn't always require money. And like I said, I've never had one friendship that required, like, the thought of money. No. But again, Candace, I'm still fairly new to this area down here.
Yeah.
And I understand that you've encountered a lot of people here. So it's probably formed your perception of what friendships are. And for those of you who are watching that don't understand, again, I'm not trying to give Atlanta a bad rap. But since I've been in Atlanta, I have definitely learned some things about women here. And again, not all the women here are actually from here. So it is a cultural thing that I think that, especially women who are not from here, they eventually adapt to. But it's like women can't be trusted. It's like a lot of like the backstabbing. It's it's treacherous out here, and it's sad. It's very. It doesn't even have to be that way. So yeah, trust me, I understand the whole no new friend concept. I totally do, and it's unfortunate. Like someone like Candace, if you've encountered women that have that type of mindset or that are all about money, to where you would have to form that type of criteria and put yourself in that type of category when you really don't even have to. That's shallow thinking. You don't even have to be like that because we talk about quality over quantity for that very reason. For that very reason.
When you told me, you did tell me, Candace, I don't just let anybody in my house, first of all. Angee has told me that, hey, I have waited. I'm not in no rush to just call people my friends just to call them my friends. It has made me feel 50 million times special. I'm telling you, because I don't know, this is going to be weird, but you know how people have like purity rings or abstinence rings? And then, if you could tell, like, if your partner was like, yeah, I waited for you, they waited to share, this moment with you. But I kind of view it like similar to that, but yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously, like I had a group of friends. I did have a group of women that I consider friends that I had met through karaoke.
Right.
And I even shared with that, I think on another episode, that I kind of distanced myself. One of them, like it was no like falling out. It was no bad falling out, right? I just had to separate myself because again, there was some intertwining of friendships. People should have been intertwined, and it made it difficult for me because I connected more with one of the individuals than the other, and then they were actually friends before I met. So it's like I can't make her pick me over her friend. They were friends before me, so let me just back on out the whole situation. So ever since that, I guess friendship breakup or whatever, I haven't had anybody close to me, right? And I didn't go out seeking any friends per se, right? I just been focused on raising my daughter and whatnot, but also keeping a safe space for her because I felt like when it's meant for me to meet, a friend, I will, and it wasn't like a priority, right? And we met each other organically, and when we met, I called you. I said, I'm big sis, right? So in my mind, I'm still not even thinking, oh, this is gonna be my friend, like a friend, right? It was so more true. Like
that is so true.
I could be someone that you can call upon if you need some guidance, or if I can give you some wisdom. But the crazy part about that is, Candace, is that I had encountered another young lady since I've been here that I had also offered that big sis role to, who turned out to be someone who was kind of like giving off like a manipulator type of vibe, who, I literally had to eventually cut off like really quickly because she literally could have had the same access to me and that sisterhood turned into a friendship the same way ours had she not came off like almost like she's gonna try to use me. So,
and I know you don't like to put it out there what you did for people, but Angee, I gotta say, like, some things that you told me about that relationship, you literally took the role of a big sister. You seen places where she was in need and you provided. We're not talking about just little providing. Angee really provided for this girl.
Yeah, she might be watching this. She may see this. I don't know. But I don't want to say what I did. I'll just say that I told her that I would always be available to her if she ever needed to reach out. But as far as the close connection that I had originally intended, because I want to be able to share my wisdom and guidance when I see someone who's really putting forth an effort to get their life in order. I know what that's like. She was here. She didn't really have like close family here. So I'm like, if I can help fill the gap and help somehow, then why not? I would love if someone would do that for me, right? But no, sis was definitely trying to finesse me, and you can't finesse somebody who used to be a master finesser, okay? So yeah, but again, complete opposite. But here we are, and how me meeting you again, same dynamic in the car, me hustling,
Yes.
that whole no new friends thing, in the back of my mind after what I had went through. That's how I felt. I literally was feeling like I'm good. I don't need any new friends. Wasn't looking for any, but I'm open to being a big sis.
Right.
I'm open to being a mentor. With that said, studies show that the average number of friends American adults have is steadily declining. A 2021 survey by the Survey Center on American Life found that the percentage of Americans who say they have no close friends has quadrupled since 1990. And that's right before the internet came out.
It sure is.
Mm-hmm.
When was Microsoft developed? Look, I don't know.
Girl, it's been out there, but like the internet really started to become like publicized around the early 90s. It was probably around like 90, I want to say like 94, 95 is when I think I first got my first email address.
Mm-hmm.
Like AOL and all that stuff.
Yes.
93, 94, 95.
Because I remember using those older computers that looked like
boxes.
boxes.
Yes, girl.
In elementary school, like the computers were huge. It looked like a speaker.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Yes, girl.
Yeah.
So it's the internet definitely has changed the way, because I mean you have those people in your life, but it what always used to intrigue me about the internet is like, we on the internet, but your next door neighbor who you've been friends with, y'all all sitting online, but ain't talking to each other, and y'all right next door to one another. That used to intrigue me. It would blow my mind, like, we all on Facebook, but we could be outside together, but we online and ain't even communicating. What is going on? And I seen that happen, and I knew, like, this is really going to change the way that people, how relationships are, and it really has. And I think we just started to adapt. We, relationships have definitely changed. So I just feel like we really have to be intentional about how we pour into our relationships.
Period.
Yeah, definitely.
And the people that you really want to spend time with, you're going to spend time with them.
Definitely.
Even if you have to make an appointment.
This is true. It is definitely, it's important, because I feel like, that appointment thing is real, especially when you're an adult. You got to respect people's schedules. Like, don't be popping up on nobody. Because some people, like those small towns,
it's different.
Back when I lived in Pittsburgh, it was more likely that somebody could potentially ride past your house and be like, "Oh, I see Angie's car. Let me see."
Stop. Yep, and say hello.
Girl, you home? Or text you like, "Yeah, I'm right outside. Can I stop through?"
Right.
But those people that still live in smaller towns, like, be respectful. Don't just be popping up on people. Like, give people a heads up. But definitely the internet has changed the way that we maintain our friendships. In what ways have you recognized and handled friendships that turned out to be toxic or merely based on convenience?
Slowly ghosted. And some cues that I have picked up on were, they were coming to me with mess. I know that they were going to bring my mess to other people. Period. What you are showing me is who you are. Maya Angelou says, if they show you who they are, believe them. If they tell you who they are, believe them. How do you decide who gets to be in your inner circle, and what criteria do you use?
For me, it's really about the character. It's about how do they treat other people. It really is about the alignment of the values. At this stage in my life, the people that I have close to me, I want them to be purpose driven. I want them to be working on really healing, really trying to better themselves. First of all, authentic, like, not ashamed to say I made a mistake. Because some people walk around acting like they are perfect, like they don't make mistakes. You don't want to be close to someone who cannot admit when they're wrong, because that is someone who is not honest. I want people around me who are going to be honest. If they're not honest with themselves, they're not going to be honest with you. Integrity, Yeah, those are the things that I need in a friendship or people that are close to me.
That is beautiful.
Mhm.
Reflecting on your own circle, how have you balanced new friendships with old ones without compromising either? Also,
Mhm.
have you experienced the situation where mixing different groups of friends led to unexpected outcomes?
Wow. Okay. So, well, right now I have friends back home in Pittsburgh, and I do have a very small circle. And this circle is not integrated. Like my friends are separate. Like they may know of each other just because, like, if I've had an event, they may have attended and they've seen each other. They know of each other, and a lot of these are like long term friends. Like if they're 15 plus years, long friendships. Um, but back in the day, some of my friendships, I did try to merge, and no, it didn't work out. For hanging out, when we used to go club and stuff, it was cool that we all could get together, dress up, and it's cool for hanging out. But when it came to like those, you know, personal situations, whether it be me going through something with the guy that I was dating at the time and me having to vent, my business, telling this person this, or if they were going through something. It's like when you had those circles and you sharing information before you know it, it's just like a lot of drama, amongst them because it just seemed like there was no confidence. There was no confidence because your business, like, once you intertwine, you tell one person one thing and you think that you're sharing it in confidence, but because now they're intertwined, this person is telling this person and like, hey, did you know that Angie and so was this? And they're like, no, she didn't tell me, girl. And then they feel some type of way because they're like, well, I thought we was cool. Why didn't you tell me? You told so. I thought we was cool. And it's like, then they start to like try to, you know, they're competing for your loyalty, they're competing for your friendship, or they're trying to one up each other. If you're ever in settings together, then you find that, they will try to like throw shade at each other. Yeah, have had times where some of my friends would be in a place together and I'd be there and they would be throwing shade at each other or talking stuff like, why you invite her? Stuff like that. Yeah. So I learned that from those experiences that, and this is what I tell you all the time, like your friends, you have to create boundaries because as you meet those individual people, you meet them in most cases, you meet your friends on individual separate bases, right?
Yep.
They're individuals. And there's something about them that appeals to you. You are drawn to them, they are drawn to you as an individual. But just because you have this other friend that again you have this unique bond with doesn't necessarily mean that this friend over here is going to bond with them because they're a whole different individual, right? So, and I understand that we may want to have all of our friends together because, we are like that common denominator. But what that does is it diminishes the bond that you have with each individual. And that actually diminishes your support system. Those individuals no longer are the strong support system that you have. It really does diminish the strength of your support system. They are no longer serving as the support system that you need when you need that friend because now they're trying to serve one another, but really they're not serving no one is serving anybody in that dynamic. It's really it becomes a chaotic mess. And you're at the center of that chaotic mess and you're left to try to figure it out.
I'm a witness. I am a living witness that everything you are saying,
and they're gonna blame you. It's your fault. You are the reason that we have this drama. You are the reason because I wouldn't know her if it wasn't for you. That is it. And I remember like now on the flip side, I will say this on the flip side, if you have like because I have had the situation where I have decided to walk away because I made the mistake of introducing people and I have had to fall out. Let's say I fall out with friend A because the way that friend A has disrespected me about how the situation. If I walk away, friend A and friend B may decide to stay friends. And to this day, there are still some friendships that are as a result of me. You're very welcome. I don't know the quality of those friendships to this day. I don't know the status. I'll say that. I don't know the status or the quality of those friendships. But I tell you what, both of those individuals have lost me as a friend. And I can say that. If they ever see this, y'all know who y'all are.
Angee, you are spot on.
Anybody out there that may have a friendship that they truly value, that maybe you made a mistake, maybe you said some things that you in the heat of the moment that you didn't mean, or you did something that you regret, but you truly value that person and you want forgiveness. Sometimes forgiveness doesn't necessarily come with reconciliation, or if it does, it doesn't mean immediate reconciliation. Allow that person some space. And we believe in prayer. Pray about it. And give yourself some grace. Give yourself some grace. You're gonna make mistakes, no matter what friendship, relationship that you're in. That's every relationship that you're in. There's a potential for mistakes. So it creates an opportunity for you to reevaluate what it means to be a friend, and also what it means to have a friend. Like, what does a friend look like for you? What do you need in a friend? Right? What do you actually need in a friend? So we talked about recognizing toxic relationships and how we recognize them and how we distance ourselves from them. But how does that play out in a professional space? Like, how does the concept of no new friends play out in a workplace?
Ooh. Boundaries again.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody wants to be your friend, and you want to have people that you feel like you're comfortable with too at work. And honestly, that's where I have met a lot of my friends is at work. Some I'm closer to some than I am others, but I say all that to say you really got to go in that thing with boundaries. And don't just, it's similar to making friends when you were younger at school. We talked about this too. You were forced to be in a classroom with people, so you made the most out of what you could with the people that was in your circle.
That's right.
Like, okay, and I literally remember asking, this was when I was in elementary school, like, can you be my friend? Aww. Can you be my friend? Aww. I would ask that all the time. All the time. Can you be my friend?
I'm just imagining a little Candace. Girl. Okay, so yes. So
at Pretty Purposeful Events, event planning meets social impact. We plan, we host, we build community. Grounded in service, guided by values. From youth empowerment events to community outreach, we create spaces that bring people together with purpose. Let's create something purposeful together. Pretty Purposeful Events is based in Atlanta, Georgia, proudly serving nonprofit and community-based organizations nationwide. Virtual services available. For more information, visit us online at prettypurposefulevents.com.
Yes.
So, like you mentioned, so you're in a new workplace. You've got all these people from different backgrounds. You have no clue where these people come from, all walks of life. How do you determine who you gonna hang out with? Like, how does that work?
You determine who you gonna hang out with, or even who is qualified to be a little closer than an acquaintance. Because Angee gave us statistics that it takes 200 hours to have a person be considered like a close friend, even though you're spending all this time with them at work. But my thing is, do we share similar values? Do you move the way that I operate? Now, what I mean by that is, are you a good person? Like, do you have good character? Do you value gossiping or talking about people? Do you value helping people? Do you value watching reality shows all the time, or do you value reading books to expound your knowledge? Like, what are you into? Because I have had work relationships where it did feel forced. So speaking of boundaries, setting boundaries is crucial in adult friendships to maintain a healthy balance between different aspects of life. So according to Psychology Today, clear boundaries can help manage expectations, prevent conflicts, which is essential for long-term friendship sustainability.
Yes. Yes.
What we're talking about here is you have friend A, you have friend B, you have friend C. You are friend A. You are friend A. You have connections with B and C. And then you want to have a party, or you want to go to dinner and you want to invite everybody. And you want everybody to get along. But what we're saying is, that cannot work. It can work. For some people, it might work. But from my experience, I am 31 years old. And it's so crazy like how God works, because it's so awesome how God works. Because Angee has given me a solution. I have learned why you have to be careful with trying to have friend A, B, and C, try to make them your friends. Because you cannot be 100% authentic. What if friend C tells you, hey, friend C made me feel some type of way. What do you think about this? What do you say? Oh, now you're talking behind your friend B's back.
Yeah.
Hello?
Exactly.
So it's like, can you really be authentic in these?
It diminishes the trust that you had and the loyalty you had for each of them.
From the get-go.
Yeah.
When you do that.
And when you think about it, you use the example of a dinner, right? A simple dinner. Think about that. Just a simple dinner. What would be the purpose? Who would it benefit to have that dinner? To have all of those individuals there? You. Of all of them, you would be the only one to really benefit of having all of them there.
You're right.
And think about that dynamic. Who would be the most comfortable of everyone there?
You, the person who initiated the dinner.
Right? Okay. Now, with that being said, if it were a special occasion and these people love you, they trust you, they're loyal to you, they would be willing to make that sacrifice for you for that one day. They'd be willing to put up with these people that they don't really know all like that. But they love you, so they're going to trust that we know Candace ain't going to fool with just anybody. So these people got to be all right. We trust her discernment. So we're going to put up with these strangers for this night because we love her. That is acceptable. That's doable. That is reasonable. But after that, there is no ties. There are no ties. What they say, no strings attached. There's no strings attached. Everybody can walk away, may have their pictures, may have taken a group photo. Protect your friends. Protect your support system. Friends are definitely necessary. That whole no new friends thing, no. New friends are necessary. As we get older, we should definitely be open to new friends because we should really be not necessarily replacing new friends, but we really should be evaluating our friendships. And as we get older, making sure that the friends that we have in our lives actually reflect who we are and how we're living, and truly are like a reflection of the things that we value. And sometimes you may have to demote. I don't want to say demote, but
yes, clean up shop. Oh, clean up shop. Yeah. We done turned the podcast into a musical.
you might have to clean up shop. The clearer you become on who you are, the better you become at discerning who deserves to be in your life.
What advice would you give to someone younger, like your daughter, about managing friendships as they transitioning into new life stages?
Yes, so y'all, my daughter is getting ready to enter college, and up until this point in her life, she really hasn't had like a lot of friends around, in various stages in her life. She's had like neighborhood friends, just the normal, school friendships. But in high school, she's had like a few close friends and she's got like one bestie, typical high school stuff.
Yep.
But as she transitions into college, I've prepared her for this transition by letting her know that, you know, um, she has already developed the friendship that she has with, like, say, her best friend based on, her being authentically herself. And I let her know, I said, if there's ever an opportunity for her friend to, say, visit the campus, she's going to need to protect that friendship. She's going to want to perhaps introduce her friend to maybe her college friends on campus, but she's going to need to keep that friendship separate from the friendships that she develops on campus, because that friendship that she has with her best friend now is her true support system. There is a difference between the friendship she has now and the friendship she's about to start developing on campus, which are baby friendships. They're still budding. They're new. So I wanted to make sure that she had a clear distinction between her support system and, like, going on campus, she's going to be making new friends. So, and just, as she goes through college and meets new people, that she's making sure that she's aligning herself with people who are like-minded, that she doesn't feel it out of boredom and out of loneliness and for validation, that she's just quickly calling just anybody friend out of, the need to, have a sense of belonging, so yeah. And so, yeah, anybody else out there, any young people out there that might, watch this, that are going off to college, or if you're in your mid 20s and you're finding it hard to find someone to trust, we talked about, quality over quantity. You don't have to have a lot of people around you. As long as you have one good friend, that's it. One good friend. And I mean, you have to be careful. I would say having a best friend is great. It's great to have a best friend, but you want to be careful. You don't want to lean so much and depend so much on a friend to where it becomes a codependent type of relationship. Okay, so you guys, in codependent friendships, there is an over reliance on one person or group of people for a sense of validation. It is a one sided relationship in which the enabler puts all of their efforts into supporting a friend, ignoring their own needs and desires to ensure that their friend is happy. They feel personally responsible for the happiness and well being of their friend. And when that friend is feeling down, the enabler will often feel guilty if they can't fix it. Yes, so one thing that we wanted to talk about that is really essential in in forming relationships and forming friendships as an adult, really at any age, is having a safe space. That is so important. And I think that can be one thing that we miss, especially when we're young. We don't really talk about having safe spaces, but as adults, that is essential. And that is listen, what did I just not say? It is essential. So if you are trying to develop friendships, determine if you have a friendship, that is like an element that cannot be missing. That is so critical. That is key. That's a key element. Good. Yeah.
How do you determine whether or not you really have a friend in your life? How safe do you feel with this person?
That's it.
Let me tell you, when it came to Angee, she was so transparent with me. She literally told me, this is a safe house. When I first met Angee, every word that came out her mouth, it literally said, "This is a safe house." Safe house. You see my house. Our first conversation, she literally said that in our first conversation. Now, what made you feel safe? Her transparency. She was open about everything. Like, and this lady was open. So that means like she literally felt safe with me. We didn't know if we were gonna talk again. You know how sometimes you meet people in Uber rides, Lyft rides, whatever. And you're like, I'm just gonna tell this person the tea because I ain't like I'm gonna see him again. It wasn't like that. It was like, whoa, she's amazing. She's transparent. Let's plant a seed.
Yeah.
Like,
yep.
And try to grow and pretty PPP is blooming.
Yes. From a safe space. From a safe space. Now, if the space was toxic, imagine. I'm telling you, that is what the fruit would be toxic. Think about that. So that space. And it's so interesting. What's so interesting about this is before I even met Candace, I said, because of what I had experienced leading up to that I wanted to start creating the safe spaces that I couldn't find, that I needed, that I wanted. And so, yeah, absolutely. For my friendships, all of my friendships, my whole entire life, Candace, I've always created safe spaces for my friends. Always. Always. Even for my family. Anybody. Like, I've always been that person people come to, like, if they needed sound advice, they needed, I don't know, I guess I could have been a life coach. I don't know. I might be a life coach someday, y'all. I don't know. But I truly believe in creating safe spaces for people. And some people just didn't necessarily value it or weren't able to reciprocate it. But I truly, that's something I do stand on.
You're more than a life coach, Angee.
Oh.
No, you really are. Like,
I'm still trying to figure that out. I'm an unofficial something. I don't know. Yeah. But no, this has been good. I'm glad that we got a chance to talk about that specifically because that is so important.
It's key.
Absolutely. and we watch these friendships, these adult friendships play out on, not that I watch reality TV, but on social media, we see the clips and we hear about a lot of what we see. It doesn't seem safe. And, it doesn't feel warm and fuzzy. It doesn't feel like Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Mm-hmm. But, a lot of our people are influenced by that content. And, I would say trust your gut, trust your instinct, and reel it back in, dial it back into what matters to you and not what seems popular and don't just have people around you that you feel is going to get you more likes, and don't just have people around you just because they appear to be popular. Like, no.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
that was a big thing in middle school, high school, and elementary school.
Right,
hanging with the popular kids. Whoa, the more we talk, the deeper it gets. But yeah,
there's adults that do that to this day. They only want to be around people because they got a certain following, or they don't associate with people because of who they're connected to. Like, there really are adults that are doing things like that, and yeah. You say no new friends and friendships, just like I still believe in relationships. I just think that it's about reframing how you view them. And you have to, I think ultimately we have to take accountability for not knowing. We have to acknowledge and accept that we just didn't have a criteria. We just truly did not have a framework.
Or boundaries.
Right?
They don't teach you this in school. Angee has told me this numerous times. Candace, they don't teach you this stuff in school. I'm just fortunate to have been able to come across a big sister that's willing to teach the game of friendships.
And I'm just glad to be able to share this platform with this lovely lady here and be able to share this with all of you, because we know that, again, this information is not being taught in schools, and there's no age limit on when you learn this information. We're learning with you. I just recently learned this here since I've been in Georgia. And we'll continue to learn. And as we learn, we will continue to share. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this episode up. We hope that this information was valuable to you. Again, as always, like, share, comment, subscribe, hit that like button. Follow us on Instagram, TikTok. We are winding down season 2. Let us know what you liked about this season, what you didn't like about this season. We want to hear it all. And remember, it's okay to be pretty,
but even better to be
pretty purposeful. Bye.
Pretty purposeful, pretty, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty, pretty purposeful. Living life intentional, just in case you didn't know. Pretty purposeful, pretty, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty, pretty purposeful, pretty purposeful, pretty, pretty purposeful. Tired of wasting all my life, think it's time I get it right. Tired of wasting all my life, think it's time I get it right. Tired of wasting all my life, think it's time I get it right.
This is Democracy Now!, democracynow.org, The War and Peace Report.